Welcome to the Naked Apple.
All in its naked glory. So a couple weeks ago, we had one of our friends on with us, James. Or was that 3 weeks ago?
That was like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Dude, time flies. Whew.
And we talked to him because he had a unique experience with coronavirus and all that of being in Boston as well as here where we are in Utah. And it was good to get kind of various perspectives of all that. This week, we have another guest. He happens to live near the Seattle area, and he has insider experience with the area now known as CHAZ, or I think they changed it to CHOP unofficially or something now. But yeah, I'll bring him up on the screen here. This is our friend Cameron. And hello, Cameron. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to the show, buddy.
It's so good to be here.
All right. So let's start off with, I guess, one thing that I love about our friendship with Cameron is we do not see eye to eye on a lot of things, which is fine. It's fine. We're able to still be friends and have discussions and conversations, hate each other for a little bit, and then turn around and play video games and all that stuff later and whatever.
I'm the leftist of the group. Spoiler alert.
But at least me personally, I think that's something healthy to have in your life, is something like this friendship where you have opposing voice to what you have instead of an echo chamber of the same thought.
Nobody should live in an echo chamber.
No. But yeah, so a lot of what we were hearing about Seattle and CHAZ and all that stuff was a lot of negative things, and we thought Cameron worked close enough there, you could walk by it. Used to live like right next to it, right?
A block away. I walked on the street where it is like every day going to and from work, so I know it well.
Nice. Yeah, so we thought it'd be nice to get his perspective on things. So as part of our goal with the Naked Apple is to try to not just be one-sided and try to shoot in the middle and find what's actually true and all that stuff. So I guess we'll start with what was your experience overall? You were there for like an hour or so, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're there for an hour, you've, I think, kind of experienced most of it.
So, I guess to kind of preempt this though, like what time of day did you go? Like what day did you go?
I went.
Just kind of
yeah, so that was Friday. What day was last Friday?
That was a few days ago. It was
Friday the 12th.
12th? Yep.
Well, it's better than Friday the 13th.
So close.
I know. No, yeah.
I got married on Friday the 13th. It was a great experience.
Yeah, right after I got off work. I get off work at like 4:30 in the afternoon, and I just hiked on up to Capitol Hill where all that's going on.
Cool. So a lot of what, at least from Mike and I's side, a lot of what we were seeing in some of the media was, there's armed guards everywhere and people are being unruly, whatever, and dumb things are happening. But what is it that you saw in your time there while you were there?
So I first, I saw an article about it pop up in my Google feed, and it's just like, this autonomous zone in Capitol Hill, and I was like, what? Capitol Hill? I looked it up, and I then looked at a map. I was like, oh shoot, I lived right there. Yeah, something like that totally would happen right there.
Came as no surprise.
Oh,
yeah.
This is not shocking.
So, because there had been for the week prior, obviously Seattle had, nasty riots. They didn't want us going to work that week while it was happening. And even downtown still, all of the main shops and everything, they're all still just boarded up, and it's super weird to be there. I don't like it. And so after those riots downtown happened, there was more protests up in Capitol Hill, and right where the CHAZ is, there's a police precinct. And because of what had happened in the downtown area to prevent that from happening in Capitol Hill Police Precinct. They decided to take the police out of it. They said, okay, like we're going to leave. And from the articles that I've read, when that decision came, it came from the mayor. She told him to, probably head out, and they called it an exercise of trust to be like, okay, like we're going to leave to not escalate this, and we'll see what happens. And so when they left the precinct, the protesters were just kind of like, well, hey, check it out, free real estate. So their setup there is like just it's a permanent protest is essentially what it is.
Right.
As for like the first article I read, like because it shows like some guy like walking around like full gear in an AR-15 and everything. I was like, holy crap! Like someone owns guns in Capitol Hill. Okay. So yeah, like for the record, I was probably the only guy that lived there that had them for a while.
You were the unruly.
Yeah. So like I wanted to know because like we lived right there. I was like, holy crap! Like I know that place. Like my favorite music store is right there. So I wanted to know what it was, and then after talking to you guys, you said that you'd like an insider's perspective on how things were. So I hiked on up there, and from the images that I had seen, I was full on preparing to see like barricades with people in like hunting gear, like you name it.
Basically, like some faux pas military base.
Yeah. So I get there, and when I was walking up Pine Street, like even a block away, all the bars and stuff, they were open, and it was as if like nothing was going on. Like they were just like people walking around. I was like, oh, okay. And then as soon as I got up the hill and I saw it, it was just like a little barricade, how you would block it off if there was like some kind of festival.
Right.
Like a parade.
And then there's just people walking around, and then like right next to the barricade, there's this guy, and he's playing smooth jazz on his keyboard.
So unruly.
No guards. Nothing.
So unruly.
So you shared a lot of this on your Facebook. If you're all right with it, we'll pull some of those and kind of show them.
No, please do.
Yeah.
I can walk you through some stuff.
But on a lot of those videos, most of what I noticed was the sidewalk art and the graffiti or art, however you want to call it, on the buildings and stuff. And a lot of that looked pretty cool from what I saw. At least the skill that was used, I could recognize that part of it, of how cool it looked.
And that's just Capitol Hill. It's like, it is a liberal paradise there, like for better and for worse. But like one thing that I really do love about the area is even along a lot of just kind of like the empty building sides, they have street art, and a lot of it's like clearly they have hired people to do this. And so that same community, when the police left the precinct and they, put boards up to keep it safe, they decided like, hey, we'll just paint over these, so like, so no damage has been done to the precinct, which is, I think, fantastic. At
That
least.
is pretty good.
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's just a lot of art, a lot of art.
Right. And one thing we talked about earlier with you is there's so many reports about, like we were talking about earlier, of bad things happening and things like that. And we were talking, maybe it's just like when the sun goes down, that's when the unruly come out and do their stuff or whatever. Or maybe it's just like some off corner of this place that's doing things like that. Because there's just so many conflicting reports and stories about what's going on in there.
Yeah, so like, and I can't speak as to what happens in the at nighttime, and I'm sure it absolutely does change. I wasn't there at night, so I'm not going to be like, oh, I know what happens, because I have no idea. But I think it probably would be fair to say, like, at night, if anything a little bit more on the extreme side was going to happen, it probably would be at night.
Right. Yeah, I remember a few nights playing video games with you when you lived there. Just about every time there were sirens or something driving by your window because you didn't have AC that worked. I can't imagine that just. I can't
And
remember
it's like-
things that made that happen just stopped because everyone threw up a barricade and threw a party.
Yeah, no, so it's like, yeah, and to be fair, it's because we lived next to that police precinct, is why you heard all those sirens. Where we lived is actually a pretty decent area, but you
Fair.
know,
All right.
Seattle's a busy city, so as for everything else that like I saw when I was there, I didn't see one person carrying a weapon. I'm sure, and I know that there have been people there that do, because like I've seen pictures of them. Like they do exist. Like they have been there.
Right.
But I think it's probably just been a one-off thing. You know, like one guy goes in. You know, he's doing it as, I think it's probably more a display of show. The only information I've been able to find out about weapons being used there further is there's a publication here in Seattle called My Northwest, and they're a bit, I'd say they're a little bit more on the conservative side. And when they were talking about it, I guess that there are some people that they do have designated in there that conceal carry, just to try to keep the area safe from, I guess, would-be troublemakers.
Right.
But that's like the extent of, that's probably the extent of it. I didn't see any weapons. It doesn't mean that they
That they don't
aren't
exist, right.
there, but yeah, it's not like a war zone. No.
Have you seen anything? Have you seen anything in the news or anything like that since you've been there that's made you maybe think differently this way or that on what you experienced at least, or?
I like that they changed the name from CHAZ, like the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, to CHOP, Capitol Hill Occupied Protest. I think that gets the point across a lot more, because when I was there, like it felt like a protest. It was like, okay, this isn't some like, we're different, you know, you can't get us in here.
Right.
It changed the perspective on it, because it's pretty much a street festival / hippie fest / block party that is also a protest.
Right.
So changing the name, I think, is good. And then one other report that I read, actually just today, is apparently there is a gentleman there that owns like some kind of car lot. Someone broke into the car lot, was trying to steal stuff. The owner's son came out with a gun to try to stop the guy. The guy gets away. Protesters saw what was going on, and what could have been an ugly fight ended up with like a discussion between the two. And like no one got hurt. The stolen property had actually been returned. So what could have been probably a really ugly incident ended up being taken care of just by them hashing it out, at least. So
Well, that's a positive, at least.
it is.
Go ahead.
But to add to that, because like obviously like, you know, they couldn't call the cops because the cops couldn't get in there.
Right.
One thing that I do feel is important, and I would feel this way if I was still living there, is because the police can't get in there, they are rightly worried about being able to respond to stuff that happens.
Right.
Like the reports that you've heard of, like, oh my gosh, there's beatings and rapes going on in there. No, like I'm sure fights have broken out, like maybe a few, but like there hasn't been anything like that. However, as good as those people are in there, like that you could like sit down and talk with them, and as much as they are probably decent and want to do the right thing and genuinely help anyone out, they probably aren't the people that I could depend on if I really needed law enforcement for something.
Right. Yep. I guess one thing I wanted to ask was, while you were there, were you able to talk to anyone that you knew was an actual resident in that area, or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would say like probably most of the people are from Capitol Hill that are in there. So it's like literally like that suburb is occupying its own space. Like
Right.
It's not people that have come from elsewhere. I'm sure a lot of people have, but it's like the actual community that's mostly settled up. I was able to talk to two people. One girl was running a what they call like People's Library, at a little sign, and they were giving away free literature.
Uh-huh.
and she lives in an apartment there, and she said that her roommates and most people she knows in her apartment are there helping out. And obviously, she was happy with it. She's there working and doing everything. However, I have an aunt that lives in California, and I was speaking to her on Facebook about it, and she's got a nephew that lives in an apartment that's like right next to where this is going on, and he hates it. And I don't blame him, because I mean, because like some of those apartments like do have cars, you know, and like his thing is like he can't go for his nightly jog anymore. Like, you know, if he's going to go out and go somewhere, he's stepping out into this huge protest.
Right.
And like if you have a car and you need to get that into the apartment building, I know that they are letting them in if you live there, but that's still like it'd be such a pain in the butt. And parking is at least like $250 a month there on top of what you're already paying.
Right.
Like, I'd be livid.
Right.
Seriously. So, did you talk to anybody in there that, like, what was the feeling about the protest? Like, what did everybody there understand what they're protesting, or is it just kind of everybody has a different reason for being there, or what was kind of the feeling you got from that?
Man, that's good. That's a good question. So because there's not like an exact set list of demands that they have yet, I get the feeling that people are probably there for really, really similar, like 99% similar reasons, but you know, I think some people are there more for I hate the police, and I think some people are more there for like Black Lives Matter. Like there might be
Right.
like they want the same goal, but I think there's different reasons to be there. And I'm saying this as someone who's lived in Seattle. I think a lot of people are probably there just because it's a quirky neighborhood, and if
They're
you're
there
a liberal,
because
you
it's
need
there.
to go there. That's what you do.
Right.
Like they're just like, oh yeah, like we're here, like yeah, we're what, like fighting conservatives? Yeah, I'm on board. Like that's probably like, there's probably a lot of people that are in there for that reason.
I don't know why I'm here. I was told there was free food.
Yeah, no, exactly. But there is free food though, and it is like really well kept. I took an apple.
You took an apple.
Was it actually free, or did you just take it?
No, it was free. It was and if you got the photos, they had what they call the no cop co-op, you know, and it's just like a bunch of stands, but it was like stuff that's been donated from stores. They have like bins of food, vegetables, apples. They had like some treats. They had like vats of soup and stuff available, and it was just like, hey, go take what you need. This is for you.
Did you just say bats and soup?
That's how it sounded.
This is how this started. We can't do that.
Vats of soup.
Vats. With a V as in Victor. I see. I was slightly concerned there for a moment. Like, okay, guys.
Insert Vietnam PTSD meme here.
So
sorry.
I don't know if you've seen any of the like captures of posts and things like that from inside the area, but I believe it was within the first few days of them starting this up, there was a post about them being out of food. So obviously, if they have these food bins and stuff set up, the food situation there is under control now, or I mean, did you see any indication that they were running low on any kind of supplies or anything in the zone?
Yeah, no, and see that's what I want to know is like, where's it coming from? Because like it's all clearly being donated. Like I know that like all of the local businesses in that area, like most of them are on board with it. At least the ones who are open. Like when I went, like I said, there was like stuff donated from stores. There was one girl who had like a bin giving away free socks. I thought that was kind of suspicious. Like, where did you get those?
She's got a giant box of socks.
Yeah. It's one of the abandoned apartments. We just
they were new socks though. Like they were brand new socks. Like,
we
they're all wrapped up and
autonomized
everything.
an apartment.
Yeah.
She probably got to the looting a little late, and that's all that was left.
That's all that was left.
Realized
At
she
least
can't sell
At
them.
least she's giving it away for free, and she's not making money off of it. Yeah, so there was because I read that thing that they run out of food, and I was like, oh, I'm like, I want to see how it is. Like, how does this free food thing work? And then when I went there, like right when I walked in next to where their kind of like medical staff is,
Mm-hmm.
there was just stacks and stacks and stacks of bottled water,
Hmm.
food. Like it's still coming in strong. My coworker that went there on Saturday, she posted about it, and they still have tons of it.
All
So
right. They figured out something to get food there.
where it
That's
comes
good.
from, I know
That's
not.
that's good to know. I was actually legitimately worried for the people inside the zone because I'd heard that truck drivers and stuff are refusing to deliver to the zone and things like that. So
Yeah, I think that they like businesses. They're still open. Like clearly, they need to get stuff in. And they were also worried about sanitation. But I know that they worked out like sanitation goes in, like garbage is being picked up, food is still being delivered to the restaurants. Because right inside that autonomous zone, like right when I walked in, there's a really good like just kind of like little Mexican restaurant, kind of like your hole in the wall place that does like the burritos the size of a small infant. Um, so they did those,
The
and yeah,
good
they were
kind.
open, and tons of people were in there, and
the good kind of burrito.
yeah, and they were doing okay. So, but I just like I don't see it being sustainable though. Like it
Right.
could be.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if it was like a month later. I'd be like, oh, holy crap, they're still doing good. But
Right.
What makes
I
you say
don't,
that?
because like I think what you guys said earlier is like, yeah, like I tend to be a little bit more left in the group, but okay, like I'm a capitalist. Like, come on, like nothing's free. We all know. Like, I'm sure like donations are going to be great, but eventually, like,
You can only
I
donate so
think,
much before somebody has to take care of
yeah,
themselves.
like the only way that I could see them bringing in more food at some point for it to be like a sustainable thing would be for them to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
So,
One of my favorite things to say to people that are adamant about socialism being the greatest thing in the world is socialism looks great on paper, so long as capitalism provides the paper.
that's a see, I like that because that's kind of how I feel. It's just like, okay, like yes, there are certain things that yes that can be implemented in beautiful ways, but I like the way that I see it there is just like, okay, if everything you're doing is based, like the books were free, the literature was free. I picked up 2 free CDs from like these rapper guys. It's not that good. They're not that good.
It's not.
They're music though. I collect
I
music.
mean, I don't usually
But,
like rap anyway, so
yeah.
there's that.
So I just like, but like I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see it lasting. But like I said, like a month from now, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and
Right.
they've.
I would be more than
worked.
happy to be pleasantly surprised at how successful this is.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would too.
But like yourself, and I just don't see how it can survive because they're getting all these, like that Mike said, they're getting all these donations, but eventually whoever is supplying the donations has to look out for themselves.
Hmm.
They can't, and those donations are coming from capitalism somewhere.
Well, it was a thought I actually had earlier today was, you talk about these different ideals of socialism, capitalism, pick your ism, whatever. all these things boil down to, which one's going to be successful, which one's going to work for a populace. Well, that depends on what is human nature really.
Uh-huh.
Human nature revolves around it boils down to really one thing, and that is our interactions, and our interactions are essentially nothing more than trades. We trade each other affection, we trade each other time, we trade each other goods, we trade each other all these different things. And so if there is no incentive to trade, then there's no actual reason for interaction with each other, and that breaks apart every part of a human being.
Right.
If there's no reason for interaction, human beings cease to exist on the level they're supposed to.
Right.
And so you have to implement systems and implement things that lead to human interaction, that lead to trade, and that's the way that you I guess feed communities. That's the way that you feed these different organizational
Right.
things. Is it has to be focused on what is human nature. Human nature is to trade and interact with each other, and so you have to build it around those things. And eventually, if you're not getting anything in return for what you're trading, you stop doing it.
The best example is if you keep dating that girl and she's not really dating you back, you probably should stop dating that girl.
A moment of silence for all of our comrades in the friend zone.
Oh, that
All right,
brings
carry
back
on.
so many memories. You have some things on forever, man. It's bull crap. But then you realize you're the one who's the idiot, so
Yeah.
and you get over it real quick.
Yep, that's the best way to recovery is beat yourself up over it and you're good to go.
Right.
Yeah, what Mike was saying about the interactions, it reminded me of a clip from South Park that's making the rounds, where the kids are at this little commune thing, and they're trying to explain to the kids what's going on. Yeah, we're just setting up this little thing where everyone kind of gets together and we all just make things work.
Yeah, wait,
Isn't that what?
it's we everybody has a skill and they trade their skill, so like somebody who makes bread would then give their bread to other people, and then somebody would be like responsible for protecting everybody. Oh, you mean like a baker and a cop?
No, you don't understand. It's not like that at all.
It's like we just get together and can't you imagine a place where everybody just gets together and trades their talents?
You mean like a town?
You mean like a town?
You don't understand. Once you go to college, you'll understand.
And we all have this universal form with which we pay for things now.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of,
Don't.
and that's why I think it's not going to survive, because I'm sure eventually, soon, we'll start seeing them start coming up with, okay, we need someone. We here's the rules that we want to live by. Now we need someone to enforce these rules. You mean like a cop? No, just someone to enforce the rules, like law enforcement. No. Yeah, I can see that happening because
Like a
it's
militia
just human
of some
nature.
variety.
it's just human nature to kind of go in that direction. The way in which you go in that direction will differ,
Right.
but yeah.
Well, it's human nature to make up for our own weaknesses by finding somebody with a strength to fill our gap. Like,
Yeah.
that's the way we've interacted since the beginning of time. We always form up in some kind of organized group to help each other.
Uh-huh.
Now, that is human nature.
Yeah. I'm terrible at reviewing music. Cameron is wonderful at reviewing music.
Well, that depends on your taste in music.
You're still better at reviewing it than I am.
That's valid.
Thank you.
Whether or not I accept your review is a whole nother thing.
Right.
Touche. So there is one thing that I found out about over the weekend, though, because there was this picture that I saw where they had set up what was called like a community garden, and it was for like minorities only.
Uh-huh.
And it was a bunch of cardboard that had been laid out with like dirt sprinkled on top of it. And it's just like looking at it, like it's the most hilarious thing. You're like, what?
They're going to feed
But-
everyone with that.
I know. So, and I was laughing my head off at that, being like, no, like, come on, you guys are smarter than this. It turns out they actually are. So I didn't know this. Apparently, that's a way to start a garden, is you put down cardboard and then it kills everything underneath. And then you like till it into the soil and it helps everything grow.
Because cardboard
Like,
is
that's-
made out of wood.
Yeah.
So it's essentially like a type of mulch.
So you
once
got to kill a
grind it
couple
up.
trees to start a garden.
Well, I mean, it's just like any other kind of compost or,
Right.
So-
it's biodegradable. So
Right.
So, like, yeah, I was like, oh, yeah, I guess they do have that figured out. And then it hit me. I was like, oh, that's right, Capitol Hill. Like, dude, I guarantee you, like half the people there are growing their own weed gardens. Like they probably know how to grow stuff real well.
You wouldn't be
It's like, yeah.
we shouldn't be surprised to see some carrots sprout with 5 leaves on the top of them out of that garden.
Well,
Dude,
I mean,
probably. Although I didn't smell any weed when I was there. I was expecting to like get hit in the face as if it was a Pink Floyd concert, and no, like I didn't smell.
first rim shot of the week
That's
goes
good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I didn't see any weed, but there's two parts of the area. The parts that you're going to see the most of are the main street where kind of the protest occurs, where they're out in front of the precinct, and then down Pine Street for about a block. But like 90% of the area that this protest takes up is a park.
Right.
And I know that on like the far end of the park that I didn't get to, I used to walk through it. It's actually really, really pretty. I know that they've got like a fair amount of people camping in there. I didn't make it to that side. I've seen videos of that side and it's pretty similar, but I'm sure that there's probably like a different story of things that occur over there than versus where kind of like the main center is.
Right. So they basically took over like the central park of Seattle, more or less.
Yeah, well, of Capitol Hill. I don't know if Seattle has a central park. If it does, it's probably like not very good. Like, you have the waterfront. That's all you need.
Right. That's all you need.
But yeah, and then to the credit of the area, that place was shockingly clean. I saw it in much dirtier conditions after a weekend party, and I would be walking to work. Like it was, I like walked through. I was like, "Holy cow!" Like, there's no trash on the streets. Like, there's no trash like anywhere. There's like trash bins. Like, it was being kept really clean. So
good.
I will commend them for that. Like, it was well maintained.
Well, at least they respect the area that they've got, I guess.
that is good.
Yeah. Well, cool. Anything else you'd like to add before we sign off with you?
Epstein didn't kill himself. Everyone remember that. Your weekly reminder that that's a thing that we should all still be concerned about.
Things that remain
Things
constant.
that remain constant. Epstein didn't kill himself.
No, I think just that, there are a lot of concerns with that area. It's not perfect. Like, there are some real concerns about, like I said, that if I was living there, I would want law enforcement to be able to get to me if something was going down.
Right.
I mean, I own 2 guns to be able to take care of myself. But it's not perfect what's going on. The one video that I did take of a community speaker, and it wasn't this CHAZ Simone guy that everyone's calling a warlord. I actually didn't see him. But there was this other gentleman who was, out in front of the precinct, and he was talking, and I guess someone had asked him, "Hey, what's your purpose with this? Where are we going? What are we doing?" And he's like, "I don't know. I don't have the answers. We're discussing this as a community. Like, I will speak and let everyone know, but there's so much that we haven't decided. And there's so many people that are in Seattle that are marching that we need to talk to, and we need to talk to everyone in the city in general who feels things need to change, so we can then form up a plan and know what direction we want to take this and what our list of demands are." I've seen like one list of demands. I don't know if it was like the official one. There's things that I'm like, oh yeah, that's an agreeable thing. Some of it I think like, yeah, okay, good luck.
Good luck. Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I was watching.
Yeah.
When I was watching that one on your Facebook, that guy talking,
Mhm.
it made me think of the end of Finding Nemo, where the fish finally escape the tank.
Yeah,
they
that's
they
kinda
get
how
out of
it
the
was. They're
tank.
just like,
Now what?
figuring this out, and to their credit, like they seem to be figuring things out and wanting to take things forward in a manner that I'm kind of surprised to see that they're doing well, that things aren't bad there, that like chaos isn't broken out, that everyone's being respectful. Eventually something will have to be done.
Right.
And I think it's fair to be critical of the mayor because she's just kind of like, oh, it'll solve itself. Like, she's not trying to respond to it. And then President Trump is just like, no, like, you send in the National Guard, which I think is probably not the best thing
that
to
would
do
not be a
either.
good
But
image.
Little excessive.
yeah,
This instance? Well, but I
like,
mean, the governor doesn't even know that this is going on in his own state, so there's that.
Obviously, he better know now. But yeah, like when Trump was just like, get control of your state, Capitol Hill is like, there's this thing going on there. He's like, oh, this is news to me. And he tweeted that back. I was like, how can you not know? Like, I don't, what?
Literally, people that don't even live here know. How do you not know?
I know. So that, it's just like, that doesn't look good, dude. Yeah. And people are already frustrated with him for handling the virus. You can't catch a break.
Well, we know somebody who's not getting voted back in next term. You'd be surprised.
I really wonder, like, yeah, when the elections came around, there's one, and I know I've mentioned this to you guys, there's like a staunch socialist on the city council. And I spoke to one of her street team members about, I'd say a year ago, like for this whole like tax Amazon campaign stuff, and I still get calls. It's just like, can you please remove me from your list? Oh yeah, sure. And they still call me. But like they really do have like good intentions. Like they want to help, because Seattle has horrible problems. Like there's a bad homeless rate thing here. Drugs are obviously a big problem, and some of it's been caused by like the huge growth that Amazon brought and everything. But there's just like, I feel like because Seattle is so heavily liberal, their first thing is just like, oh, we'll just tax Amazon. And it's like, okay, well, like, you can only throw so much money at it, and like clearly like that's not working.
You can only take so much money from them before they leave too.
Like, and they did. They freaking did. Yeah,
and you know how many people lost jobs over that?
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, they were building their new headquarters, this beautiful skyscraper that I've watched it go up over the year. It looks fantastic, and Seattle was just like, we're going to need to tax you a little bit more. And so Amazon was like, yeah, no, we're out.
Deuces.
So their new headquarters is being built in Bellevue, which is just east across the lake.
It was cheaper to abandon a half-built skyscraper than it was to keep paying taxes.
Half-built, multi-million-dollar skyscraper.
So it's just like there needs to be a conversation, and from what I've seen, like the city council, like they're just not having a fair conversation. And that's not to say that, at least for me, like maybe Amazon does need to be a little bit more accountable to a degree, but maybe, like these super left people running the city should realize, you know what? Maybe having a conservative crack at things isn't a bad idea.
Maybe the answer isn't taxing people more. Maybe the answer is balancing our budget.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where it's at. I mean, it sounds like, oh, like don't move to Seattle. No, Seattle is amazing. I freaking love it. The city, if it's not on lockdown and not boarded up, is
under previously normal circumstances, it's fantastic.
When there aren't riots in the streets and people taking over sections of the city, it's a great place to be.
You just dodge all that. It's fine.
Yeah. But even Capitol Hill, like I do miss living there to a degree. Like there's some stuff that I was, like I wasn't raised in that kind of an environment. Like Utah is, what it is, like mostly conservative. So being thrown into just like the whole different opposite end of that was kind of weird.
From one think box to another.
Yeah. But there was a lot of really cool things, about living there too that I really appreciated. They love dogs. Everyone loves dogs here. Like.
Well, good. They're at least humans. Good.
Pros and cons to any city.
No,
there's
they're
pros
dogs.
and cons to.
Oh, sorry.
So, pros and cons to Seattle, but I do like it here. But that being said, things are crazy here right now, and I just want it to. I want it to
just go away.
I want it to be solved in a way that everyone can be heard. Real solutions happen. But I also want it to be done, just because I'm selfish.
Right.
Either figure it out or knock it off. I want to
figure it out or knock it off. One of the two.
Shut up! I just want to go buy music. That's all I want.
That's how I felt. I was like, oh boy, I'm going to go to that music store while I'm here. Nope, it was closed.
Oh. And the sad thing is, because of everything going on, it might actually go out of business.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope, dude. I hope not. I freaking hope not.
That'll
I
be
just
Well,
ruined his night. I'm
That'll-
sorry, Cameron.
That'll be the final straw for
That'll
Cameron.
be
We'll
the
see.
fight.
We'll see in the news in a couple weeks. Cameron's out front of this place, just tearing down their stuff.
last man on earth who buys CDs is sad that CD store goes out of business.
That's an Onion article.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. As more stuff develops, I'll probably let you guys know. But as for now, I think things are just kind of at a stalemate.
Everyone's trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Much.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Hey, thanks for interviewing me. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
You guys have a fantastic night.
You as
too.
well.
Take care.
Yep.
See ya.
Catch you later. All right. Let's do.
And we'll do a break.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.